Hi there everyone, it's Bev and I'm here from Living Fabulously with Bev, and what we're here today to talk about is the next part of the 3-part series in 12 Ways to Live Fab. So today I wanted to talk to you about the next 4, or it's the last 4 I guess in the series of 3, and what we're going to do is talk about building healthy relationships, enjoying regular physical activity, finding work or daily activity that you love, and developing a spiritual practice. So let's kick off with the first one. When we focus on building healthy relationships, what it means is that studies have shown that people who do have healthy relationships actually are happier, they have less health issues, and they live a longer life, a fulsome life. So that's why it's important. And so how do we go about this? You might think, well, which of your relationships do you think are healthy already? So it's almost like doing a stock take and trying to understand where would you like to be in a relationship with certain people in your life. So for those in your immediate, relationships, so it could be the people, for example, that you are nearest and dearest to, your life partner. It could be a child. So what we're looking for is things that make up a healthy relationship to you. So 2 of the things that come to mind for me are that it's a trusted relationship, that I can trust that person to do and say and act honorably as they said they would. So trust for me is an important thing, but something else might be more important to you. So understand what your own values are and what your values and how you want to show up in a relationship to make it healthy. And that brings me to something that's really important for healthy relationships, and that's boundaries. And I don't profess to be the boundaries queen. We have my good friend and colleague Patty Villalobos, who is the boundaries queen. She has a beautiful course called Set Boundaries Like a Boss. But I think that each of us can actually understand where our own healthy boundaries are, and that makes us better in our relationships. So we're not building up resentment, we're not building up dissatisfaction, we are healthfully expressing ourselves, and so on. So just think about how you can actually move the relationships in your life into that space of healthiness, ones of love and compassion and understanding. And given that we've got the start of a new year just around the corner, it's a good time for reflection on those matters. The next point is to enjoy regular physical activity. Now, a lot of people would say, I don't have time to exercise. And what I'm trying to encourage you to do is, instead of seeing it as a chore, see what are the benefits of actually moving more every day. And some of the benefits which are obvious, and they're well written about, so I'm not telling you probably anything new, but you certainly have a healthier state of mind. So when you are moving your body, you're releasing endorphins, which actually create that feel-good factor in your body. So you will have that healthier state of mind. You'll have increased energy because you're actually creating more blood flow through, taking in maybe longer breaths, because a lot of us breathe too shallowly. So taking in longer breaths, circulation is improving because you're moving, and so therefore you will have an increase in energy. And you would also feel better in yourself. So because you've got those really great hormones floating around, you're going to feel better, and it's a great stress reliever. So it's going to reduce the level of stress hormones in your body by just getting out there. So what are some of your options? Well, I like to focus on the things where you use breath consciously. So the reason that you want to be using your breath is that it actually calms down the sympathetic nervous system. And so that will help to relieve the stress. So think of pleasurable things. So it could be a walk along the beach. It could be a walk in the park. So somewhere out in nature where you're actually getting access to fresh air and good quality air, hopefully in the parks nearby, that's important too. And why I'm also thinking about other options with breath. So it could be things like yoga, where it's focused and concentrated breath. The teacher would be reminding you when to breathe and how to breathe and so on. And what will help with that is also things like, for example, if you don't like walking, or you've got problems, say, with your knees, or you're overweight and you find it difficult to exercise, then water-based activity is really good for you. So think of perhaps swimming some laps, so you could start off with 1 or 2 laps and get some breath work in there, because you're obviously taking in breath while you're swimming. Or aquarobics is another good option. So think outside the square, make it fun, make it pleasurable, and if you've got a family, involve them, make it part of your day. So that's really key to sort of create the enjoyment out of it, and before you know it, you'll be able to walk further, swim longer, do yoga with more enjoyment and expression of that particular practice. And then the third way was to find work or daily activity that you really love. And I'm sure we all know that when we're in a job that kind of sucks the life out of us, it really does suck the life out of us. So what we're looking for is activities, so for example, for entrepreneurs, they've already probably made a life choice that they didn't want to be in a corporate position. And so they wanted to move on from there and create the space for themselves that, gives them pleasure. But often what happens is we substitute one environment for another without actually resolving some of the foundational problems that we experience in the corporate world. So, for example, working extended hours. Even if you're doing something you love, you need to balance that with the amount of time you spend doing that. And I guess the primary role about finding something that you love to do is finding meaning and purpose in that, what it is that you're doing. Because when we feel that what we do matters and makes a difference to someone, we feel lit up inside. So just think of even mundane tasks in your day-to-day thing. How could you make them more lovable, if that's a way that you can think of it? Is how, for example, by keeping your admin and your finances in order, how is that actually serving you and your clients? So make it something that, instead of being dreaded, change your mindset around it and focus on it as a positive outcome. Because, for example, if you didn't keep your finances up to date, when it comes tax time, then it's even more draining and more dreaded. So focus on that. And then the fourth way was around developing a spiritual practice. Now, I don't mean religious practice, and it could be. For you, it may be a religious practice. But what I mean by a spiritual practice is that conscious awareness of doing something or being in a state where you feel connected back to yourself, where you feel that there is a calm and peace in your soul. So that's what I'm talking about. So for you, it may be something like the practice of mindfulness. And what I love about the practice of mindfulness is that we're already doing daily things, like, for example, taking a shower. If, however, we turn it into a mindfulness practice, it actually can be so beneficial to slow ourselves down, because I really feel that stress doesn't exist in intensity in the present moment usually. It's either happened in the past or it's something that we're dreading that's coming up. So if you could just, for example, in your shower, so feel the sensation of the water hitting your skin. Just get into the moment with that shower. When you then use, soap on your body, feel the suds, cleansing your skin, and then rinsing off, and visualize even your worries of the day going down the drain with the dirty water. So it's those kind of practices. And even things like washing the dishes, you could be doing that. But perhaps your choice is something like contemplation or meditation. So if you do have a religious practice, contemplation through prayer is appropriate, and so is meditation. So meditation is not necessarily about sitting on a cushion for hours staring into space. And yes, that is one form of really dedicated practice. But for some of us, it could be as simple as using our breath and actually doing the breath work with a statement or a mantra. So I recently had somebody on my podcast show who taught a mini meditation. So I'd invite you to look out for that. It's being published on the 8th of January. And I think, when we do something like even being in nature is about being connected to something bigger than ourselves. So that's the 12th one, actually, the final one in today. So I'd like to just remind you that there is an opportunity to get your 12 simple steps to living fabulously. There's a link in the notes, and download that and take a look, and you'll find at the back of it there's what I call a fridgeable. It's a sort of reminder that you can make a commitment to living a fabulous life. And there's also an infographic about all 12 steps. And what you could do is circle one of them that you're working on right now. And as you feel that you've accomplished in that area, move on to the next one. It may take you a few days, a week, a month, whatever it is. But imagine if you did one thing a month, you would have actually changed your life considerably in 12 months or 12 weeks, whatever it is that works for you. So this is the last show for this year, and I wish you much success and abundance in love, health, and happiness in 2018. Bye for now.